A massive hurricane is barreling towards South Carolina, and the National Hurricane Center isn't playing around. Warnings are going out across every coastal town. People are grabbing whatever they can carry and getting out fast, because everyone knows what a category storm can do to a place like this. Everyone is running, except Dakota. She's sitting inside her dead mother's house in Annieville, trying to order food from her favorite restaurant. They tell her they're closing because of the storm. Now she has a real problem, because Dakota has agoraphobia. Going outside doesn't just make her uncomfortable. It terrifies her down to her bones. But she's hungry and she has no food, so she takes a deep breath and forces herself out the front door. The street hits her like a wall. Neighbors are loading up cars, dragging suitcases, moving with that wide-eyed look of people who know something bad is coming. Then a fire truck screams past with full sirens blaring, and just like that, Dakota's chest locks up. She can't breathe. She turns around and walks straight back home. A neighbor catches her and offers her a seat in his car. The idea makes it worse. She says no and goes inside. Across town, 3 siblings are squeezing the last bit of fun out of the afternoon. Ron climbs up on a rock, launches himself into the swamp, and doesn't come back up. His brother and sister go still for a moment. Then he explodes out of the water laughing. Classic. Their fun ends when Billy shows up. Their foster father climbs out of his truck with that look on his face and immediately starts in on them. Dangerous swamps, expensive medical bills, irresponsible kids. Dee quietly fires back, saying she doubts he'd even take them to a doctor if something actually happened. That earns her a harder scolding. Billy shoves them all into the truck and drives away, still talking the whole time. At the meat plant, Lisa is already heading to her car. She's pregnant, tired, and done with the day. She says a quick goodbye to her coworker Bob, who still has chores left to finish, and gets on the road. Her mother calls almost immediately. The conversation goes the same way it always does. Why did Lisa leave New York? Why did she follow a man to Annieville? A man who disappeared the second he found out about the baby. Lisa grips the steering wheel and listens. Then her mother drops the urgent part. The highways are already closed. Lisa needs to find higher ground right now. Down at the port, marine biologist Dale is watching the water and reading the signs carefully. The sea animals are already gone, all of them moving north to escape what's coming. That means the sharks moved too, and his team didn't manage to tag all of them in time. Harbor Master Greg walks over and confirms what Dale already feared. The hurricane has intensified into Category 6, and it's still growing. Dale picks up his phone and calls his niece Dakota. She picks up, and Dale lays it out plainly. Get out of the house. Come with him. This storm is going to be catastrophic. Dakota laughs and teases him about his parenting skills. He pushes harder, tells her he misses her mother too, that sitting in that house isn't going to bring her back. Dakota goes quiet for just a second. Then she deflects again. Dale tells her he's coming anyway, and hangs up. She turns on the TV. Every single channel is storm coverage wall to wall. She connects her phone to the TV and pulls up old family videos instead. Her mother's face fills the screen. Outside, the sky is already turning an ugly dark color. In the truck, Billy is still scolding the kids on the drive home. Ron watches people rushing down the streets from his window and asks if maybe they should be evacuating too. Billy laughs it off, just some wind and rain, relax, and turns up the music. When they get home, Dee gets nervous about the windows, but Billy tells her he installed reinforced glass and there's nothing to worry about. Then he heads down to the basement looking for his wife Rachel, grumbling the whole way. Rachel tells him to calm down and reminds him they get paid to take care of these kids. Dee comes downstairs and says the siblings are hungry. She notices thick steaks sitting in the basement fridge and puts 2 and 2 together immediately. Billy tells her it's none of her business. Rachel throws a loaf of bread at her. The basement is off limits, end of conversation. Back at the port, reporter Joe approaches Dale wanting a comment on a shark attack that happened that morning. Dale hadn't heard anything about it. Joe explains that a couple at the beach was attacked by a great white, and some witnesses even claimed they saw multiple sharks working together. Dale listens and shakes his head. Great whites don't hunt in packs. Those were bull sharks. Joe grabs the mic and starts spinning the story with made-up dramatic details, building it into clickbait. Dale tries to correct him. Joe ignores him completely, so Dale just walks away. Meanwhile, Lisa is driving through empty streets looking for help. Every shop she passes is locked and dark. Her mother calls again to check on her, but the connection dies almost immediately. Lisa feels a sharp pain in her stomach and tells herself it's just nerves. She turns on some music and tries to breathe through it. Then the storm actually hits. The wind starts tearing apart buildings like they're made of paper. The power cuts out across the entire town. Massive waves crash against the flood barriers on the beach and punch straight through them, and water starts rushing into the streets fast. Way faster than anyone expected. Lisa floors it. She almost smashes head-on into a truck and slams the brakes just in time. The driver is Bob. He tells her to turn back because fallen trees have completely blocked the road ahead. But there's floodwater rushing in from behind her too. She's caught between both sides. Lisa decides to keep pushing forward anyway. Her car gets wedged against a fallen tree and stops dead. Bob tries to reverse and turn around, but a wall of water hits his truck and drags it down the street, slamming it into light posts and buildings along the way. Lisa watches the truck getting pushed straight toward her and she still can't move her car. Then the water takes over and does it for her, dragging her car forward until it crashes hard into a tree and a thick branch punches straight through the windows. Water starts pouring in. Lisa is completely trapped. Bob's truck smashes into a statue nearby and cracks open his chum tank. All that fish blood and guts spills out into the floodwater, and the current carries it all the way out to sea. Deep below the surface, something picks up the scent. The sharks are moving. The siblings watch from their window as the yard fills up with dark water. Rachel tries warning Billy about it, but he brushes her off. Then a massive wave smashes clean through one of their windows and sends Billy crashing to the floor. Rachel panics and tells him they need to leave right now. Billy doesn't know what to do, just standing there looking lost. Ron steps up and reminds him the car in the garage has a snorkel attachment. It can drive through floodwater. At Dakota's house, she sees the waves coming and sprints upstairs just seconds before water blasts through her front door. From her window, she spots Lisa trapped in the submerged car below. Two men on a nearby boat spot her too. Scott jumps into the floodwater and swims hard toward the car, climbs onto the hood, and starts trying to move the branch. The wind throws him back into the water. He calls out to his friend Jimmy to grab the bolt cutters from their truck. Jimmy swims over, grabs the cutters, and jumps back into the flood. Then he simply vanishes. 1 second he's right there, the next he's gone without a sound. Scott spins around looking everywhere for him. Then Jimmy shoots back up to the surface screaming, and what Scott sees stops his heart. Jimmy's arm is gone. Something yanks him back under before Scott can even take a single stroke toward him. Dakota sees a find slicing through the water below her window. She throws it open and screams at the top of her lungs. Shark! Scott can't hear her over the wind and the rain, but Lisa can, and she starts screaming too. Bob hears the chaos from his truck and kicks the door open to help. The second he steps out, a massive mouth closes around him. He fights back hard, punching and clawing. It doesn't matter. He disappears under the water. Scott finally sees the shark and turns to swim for his life, but it catches him anyway. It grabs him and slams him against Lisa's car like he weighs nothing, again and again, and then pulls him under for good. On their boat, Dale and Brian are watching the news reports come in. The Coast Guard has shut down all watercraft for the next 12 hours. Currents are too dangerous, winds too strong. The reports confirm that Annieville is flooded and people have already died. Dale pulls up the tracking system on their computer and sees exactly what happened. The levees broke, and now the whole town is underwater. He stares at the screen and thinks about Dakota sitting alone in that house. Minutes later, they're in a car with reporter Joe and his cameraman, moving fast. The deal is simple. Joe drives them and their boat to Annieville, and in return, he gets to film everything. Joe agrees without hesitating. At Billy's house, he and Rachel are wading through waist-high water toward the garage. The kids watch from the window, scanning the dark water below. Then they see a fin. Billy reaches the car door, and a shark launches straight out of the water and clamps onto his arm, dragging him down. It turns immediately and slams into Rachel. The kids are at the window screaming and begging for someone to help. Billy looks up at them from the water. He looks right at those three kids who depend on him. Then he turns around and runs toward his truck. The shark catches him again before he reaches it. Rachel suddenly reappears at the window, soaking and screaming. A second later, the shark drags her back under and she's gone. Inside the sinking car, Lisa is almost completely submerged. Dakota tries 911. Nobody answers. Lisa is begging through the water filling around her. Dakota tells her she can't come down. The sharks are right there in the water. Then Lisa says the one thing that changes everything. She's pregnant. Dakota freezes. A full anxiety attack hits her right there. She grabs the wall. She focuses. She breathes through it piece by piece. Then she looks out at the water and says, "Okay, I'm coming." She goes downstairs and walks across the tops of furniture to stay above the waterline, grabs a knife from the kitchen, and climbs out through the window. She immediately slips and plunges into the flood. She grabs a car roof and pulls herself up, heart hammering, sharks somewhere beneath her feet. She moves carefully from car to roof to wall, checking the dark water below her with every single step. She reaches Lisa's car, cuts through the roof, cuts away the branches, and reaches inside. Together they fight their way back through the floodwater and into the house. Dakota wraps Lisa in a towel and tells her she lives alone. Both her parents are gone. Lisa says they need to get to the roof and signal for rescuers. Then she stops mid-sentence and grabs her stomach. The contractions are here. The baby is not waiting. Dakota rips down the curtains, runs to the roof, and lays them out to spell help as large as she possibly can. When she comes back down, Lisa asks her to check how far along the birth is. Dakota takes one look and her expression changes completely. The baby's head is already 2 or 3 inches out. This baby is coming right now. On the boat, Brian is tracking the sharks on his marine system and finds something that makes his stomach drop. A shark named Nellie is circling directly around Dakota's house. Joe asks who Nellie is. Dale explains quietly, Nellie is a pregnant great white shark they've been tracking for 3 full years. Then the car stops dead. The road ahead is completely swallowed by floodwater. They get out and start launching the boat. Brian opens his laptop and the internet is gone. No tracking system, no map. They're going in completely blind. Dale calls Harbormaster Greg to confirm their direction. Greg tells them they're heading the right way, then tells them to move fast and get out as soon as they can. As they sail into the flooded streets, they pass the floating bodies of animals the sharks already tore apart. The three siblings are standing on a table with dark water rising all around them. They notice an open door across the room. Sharks could swim straight through it. Dee starts moving carefully across the furniture toward it. She's almost there when a shark shoves it open from the other side. She barely holds on, fingers white-knuckling the frame, and she's not going to last much longer. Ron waits for the shark to drift into another room, then moves. He crosses the furniture slowly, reaches Dee just before she goes under, and pulls her back to the table. He looks at the rising water, looks at the two sharks circling below, and tells them they need to get to the roof. His siblings don't want to move. Ron doesn't give them a choice. The water is still rising, and they have two sharks down there. They need a distraction first. Dee remembers the steaks in the basement fridge. Will reminds them it's off limits. Ron reminds Will that Billy and Rachel are dead. The three kids laugh and start loudly insulting Billy, letting it all out. Then Billy explodes out of the water and lands right on the table with them. He asks about Rachel. Ron tells him she's dead and calls him out for running. Billy swears he was coming back with help. Not one of them believes a word of it. He tells them to relax and says sharks don't eat children, as if that's supposed to be comforting. Then Will pulls a soaked envelope from the water and opens it. It's the monthly government foster check. The money meant to feed and care for these kids. The money Billy and Rachel were pocketing while throwing bread at them. Billy tries to explain. He swears he loves them, then insults them in the same breath and orders Ron to get in the water. Ron has finally had enough. He snaps back with everything he's been holding in, and when Billy swings at him, Ron blocks it clean. Dee kicks Billy square in the face and he falls backward off the table into the water. The sharks don't wait even a second. Ron dives in immediately and uses the chaos to reach the basement. He grabs whatever he can find. His sweater catches on a hook and he's stuck. A shark appears around the corner. Ron hurls a paint bucket to buy himself 2 seconds, rips the sweater free, and swims as hard as he can. He makes it back to the table just before the shark gets him. He opens the box he grabbed and looks inside. Dynamite. Upstairs in Dakota's collapsing house, the water has reached the bedroom and Lisa's contractions are getting unbearable. Dakota knows she needs a boat, and she remembers something Dale once told her. Vibrations in water mimic the distress signals of injured fish, and sharks follow those signals like a compass. She grabs everything in the house that vibrates, electric toothbrushes and anything else she can find, stuffs them into bags and drops them into the water below. The sharks change direction immediately and go straight for the bags. Dakota gets in the water. She ties a flashlight to her head and moves slowly along walls and submerged structures, checking the water around her constantly. A shark passes close and she goes completely still. It drifts by without touching her. Her flashlight dies and she smacks it back on. She bumps into a floating body in the dark and keeps moving anyway. At one point, 2 sharks close in from both sides, and she spreads her legs wide while one passes directly beneath her. Then she reaches the boat. As they sail through the flooded streets, Dale tells his team the story of why he chose to study sharks. He explains that hippos are actually the most dangerous animals in rivers, aggressive, territorial, and almost impossible to stop. One day a hippo had him cornered and was about to charge. 2 sharks came out of nowhere and brought it down right in front of him. He watched genuine fear appear in a hippo's eyes for the first time in his life, and something clicked. The only thing that truly scares a shark is a bigger shark, that, and electrical currents, which completely disorient them. Right then Brian gets his signal back. He looks at the screen and goes quiet. The entire town is packed with sharks, everywhere. Then they spot an abandoned SWAT truck, sitting on a raised platform nearby. Dale looks through the window and sees exactly what he was hoping to find. Tasers, a whole rack of them. Dawn is breaking over the destroyed town. Dakota's house is starting to give way, walls cracking and shifting under the pressure. The water is so high now that Lisa is almost pressed flat against the ceiling. Dakota smashes open a neighbor's window and finds a harpoon gun inside. Lisa feels the baby pushing and plays music on her phone to hold herself together. She starts pushing through the pain. The house chooses that exact moment to collapse. The floor drops. Lisa rolls off the bed and into the water, but she can swim, and she kicks hard to the surface. Right there, in the middle of a flooded, crumbling house with sharks in the water around her, the baby comes. She grabs her child and holds it above the waterline with everything she has. The baby cries. The sharks hear it immediately. One comes straight at them. Lisa grabs a piece of broken wood and drives it into the shark's side and it veers away. Another is coming from behind her, and Dakota fires the harpoon gun and catches it right in the face. It retreats. Then Dale's boat rounds the corner and he pulls a taser from the bag and throws it into the water. The electrical charge scatters every shark in every direction, except one. The shark Lisa stabbed is coming back, slow and angry. Then Nellie appears. A massive pregnant great white surges up from below and closes her enormous jaws around it, killing it instantly and effortlessly. Dale and his team pull Lisa, her baby and Dakota out of the water and onto the boat. Everyone is breathing. Everyone is alive. Back at the house, the siblings tape the meat from the basement around the dynamite and light the fuse. They throw it into the water below and wait. Nothing comes. Will thinks for a second and remembers something from a documentary. It's vibrations that draw sharks in, not just smell. The three of them get into the water and start jumping up and down, splashing as hard as they can until the water is churning. The sharks show up fast. Will and Dee immediately swim hard for safety. Ron's sweater catches on something again. Of course it does, and he has to twist and dodge as a shark comes straight at him. He tears the sweater off and dives behind a submerged table with his siblings. The sharks circle the dynamite. It blows. The explosion tears through the water and kills every single one of them, and blood sprays across the walls of the house. Will spots Billy's keys floating on the counter. The three kids don't even discuss it. They grab the keys, find the truck, and drive away from that house without looking back. Out on the water, Dale and Dakota hold each other in a long hug when they finally reunite. Brian hands Lisa his phone so she can call her mother, tell her she's alive, and introduce her to the baby. Joe keeps filming everything as the boat sails away through the wreckage of the town. Back at the port, Greg is already staring at his instruments with a familiar look on his face. Another powerful hurricane is forming and heading this way. It's not over. It's never really over.